Hey guys, Dr. Pelto here. What you're going to hear now is an interview with David Zuckerman. I'm trying something new. I'm actually going to post every interview the day I do it. The ones that show up on podiatry.com are kind of backlogged by about a month or two, but you're going to get the latest ones here. Also, I'm going to do the full length, meaning the little conversations we're having before and after, I'm going to include in there. So just so you're aware of that. Okay, great. Hope you enjoyed the interview. I'm just starting to record so I don't forget. Okay, go ahead.
The
We haven't
company
started.
it's the longest partnership I've ever had. I formed it with a businesswoman named Denise Ashcraft. And I mean, I've treated patients from at least every state in the union and all over the world where they fly in and they get treated. I mean, the Dornier invented ESWT. It's an amazing machine. Unfortunately, we still do a cash model. We did a cash model before the insurance got involved. And I knew the day we got insurance contracts, the industry was over. I knew it. It's a short little fix, but the procedure is amazing. And I have, let's see, what do I have going here? We do head to toe. The interesting thing is it has nothing to do with FDA approval. We do calcific deposits of the supraspinatus tendon in the shoulder, and Aetna and a lot of insurance companies have covered it from day one, even though it never went through a FDA approval. And in my opinion, the reason is because you see the calcification and it's gone. Pain is very subjective, but when you have a physical evidence of something here, something gone, if ESWT destroyed or removed a heel spur before and after, it'd still be covered by insurance companies to this day.
Wow.
I could go on forever.
I know. So I'm gonna guide you today as we do this interview, David. So I'm gonna do the intro and I'm gonna pick your brain. What I really want you to do is give everyone listening, like if you were talking to your best friend and you want to give them the best advice. Now, whether that's your advice, what you offer, or what other people offer, or other things.
I love that.
That's what we're going to talk about. Okay.
I love it.
Hello and welcome to Podiatry Practice Mastery. My name is Don Pelto and I have David Zuckerman here with me. Welcome, David.
Thank you very much. I'm looking forward to this. I always love talking to you, Don.
I know, David. We talked about it, and you sent me an email. You said, how do I get on the show? Well, if anyone that's listening, if you want to be on the show, just let me know. Just send me an email and you'll be on the show. So, David, you are kind of an entrepreneur. You have your hands in a lot of different things. And we have about 30 minutes or so. I want to give people that are listening the best value for their time. So go ahead and just let's talk about what's the thing that brings the most profit in for the doctors, in your opinion, right now.
That's a hard question to answer. I don't think it's one thing. I think it's multiple things.
Okay.
Because the market changes. Interesting what marketing is. Marketing is find out what they want and give it to them. I'm in various things right now. You want something that is a consumable, where you're not always you can sell something or present. It's got to be evidence-based. Everything has to work. Okay, but
has to be consumable, or what they call it recurring fees, right?
Yeah. And we used to say, I'll never forget, I heard a story. I don't know who, it could have been Doug Ritchie. I don't remember who it was. If orthotics could disappear every year, podiatry would be set for life.
David, I had an idea, and maybe you've already thought about this for orthotics. How come instead of charging $550 for a pair, how come we don't say, okay, Mrs. Jones, it's going to be $100 a month or $100 a year for the rest of your life, and we'll always update them as you need them. No one's come out with that idea.
I'll tell you an idea that worked well. There was a guy named Michael Horowitz, who I've known for umpteen years. He's in St. Louis. And we started, I helped him build a mobile ESWT company way, way back. And with lasers, this is what he does for lasers. It's called Feet for Life. Okay. And it just made me think of this. It's a set fee for life for fungus toenails. And I don't know why anybody does that. He charged $2,500 for a package, and he tells them it's an infection. I'm not saying it works or not, but I just like the idea. It's for life. Yep. And that's the first time I ever heard that. I agree. You know, with our lasers right now, we put them with the Remy laser, we put them in clubs. Okay, these sports clubs. I mean, I sell to distributors and they have, especially in Colorado, they come in, they pay a membership and they can use it anytime they want. I love that idea. I love it. It's a membership where you pay per month. Um, I love your thinking. You know, everything, you know, the thing about, you got to look at, nothing is perfect. Just do it, try it, and then adapt to it, because where you started and where you are today are two different things. It's the ability to adapt.
Yeah, and try different things. So let's talk about some of the things that have really worked for you, or for those that you help, or those that you know, because you know a lot of podiatrists, a lot of other professions. You're telling me you're at a different conference in another profession right now, so you can even take and use these other ideas from other professions and apply it for us to podiatry. So what are some things that are really working right now for people?
Well, I can go back and give you an experience of how I approach things, because you've heard of care credit.
Yep.
Okay, I learned care credit about 20 years ago, and I was dentistry has a lot to teach us. When you're be friends with your dentist if you go to the dentist, and learn from them. There's two things I've learned. My dentist introduced me care credit about 20 years ago. It just zoomed my ESWT company, zoomed it.
Now let's stop and talk about care credit, because we have it, but I never even bring up the topic. Like, and so maybe I'm not offering it the right way. What's the best way to offer? Like, do you bring that up, or does your staff bring it up? When do you use, we just have it as an offer. We have a little thing, but we're not doing a ton of it.
I don't think most podiatrists are not comfortable presenting fees with, and I use a foundation, one of the most successful companies I ever had. And it was the trampoline for me to move forward, was my Excellent Shockwave Therapy company. And to this day, we still charge $2,500 for 1 foot and $35 for 2. Now that's a fee. That's, some people write a check. Some people need a financial explanation. The doctor, one is you got to separate it. We have a complete concierge staff that handles that, you know, and that's the beauty of it. When you're presenting higher fees, and it's interesting why people gravitate to low. I'm not saying there's anything wrong with it, but they gravitate to lower fees for services because it's easier to sell. But when you have you go into a plastic surgeon or you go into a cosmetic surgeon, the doctor tells you what you have, and you have a separate division to discuss it. And your doctor should not be discussing those fees. Now you have to find somebody that is comfortable discussing fees. They're going to be caring, they're going to be firm, and you got to give options. I mean, we even have where a check where you can, companies, and you know, I have a business partner. She handles the business. So it's been a long time. I'm the clinical director to this day. I train I've probably trained over 1,000, well over 1,000 doctors with the Dornier Post Ultra. But the point I'm saying is we are an extra, it might be a good business to start where you have somebody that handles multiple offices and they just handle the fee part and not within your office, sort of like a billing service, but you have your own setup.
They're a closer.
The closer. That's a great word, the closer. We have closers, but they're educated. You got to know I have closers with me. I've got 4 of them in my ESWT company that, that's all they do. They've been with me for 20 years. They know the product. I mean, we have foot and ankle orthopods that do we have sports orthopods. We have mostly podiatrists that do this, but we're full body. So if you're not comfortable, admit it to yourself you're not comfortable. If you can't play the part, find somebody else. Don't focus.
It kind of raises, I'm reading this book right now by Robert Ringer, and he talks about this whole idea of intimidation and what do you call it? Like how you appear. And so like a good, like basically before a patient comes in, you send them like a shock and awe package of like all this stuff that you've written. So when they come in, they have this appearance of you. So they have an appearance of us as doctors. And then if we start dropping down to asking for money, sometimes that brings them down in their mind. Whereas if you have someone else do it, they're much better at it, and you can kind of stay at this upper level. And you're like, this is what you need. This is the best option. Someone else is going to talk about the prices.
And that's exactly what I did with when I was doing treatments. I'd say, Mrs. Jones, you absolutely qualify, and this is a procedure that's going to help you. our next step is to contact the company, Excellent Shockwave Therapy, and they're going to explain to you if your insurance covers it. Because yeah, you have to answer the questions that the patient has before they answer it. Generally speaking, you do. They're going to discuss everything in detail with you, the cost, this, that. I don't think, and I've done it both. With me, I'm a natural. I just walk in and I tell them what the fee is. And I just tell them what it is, but I learned that because I couldn't replicate myself. So I replicated, there's not, if you're not comfortable quoting fees, it's okay. Don't fight yourself. Have somebody that does it, but be honest and open. Say, look, patient may say, well, what's it cost? Okay, I'll tell them. The typical with yours is $2,500. I don't know if your insurance covers. We check their insurance. You'd be surprised what we can find out. Two is they have comfortable payment plans. My job is to determine if you're a good candidate, and you are, and be honest. If they can snuff that off you in 2 seconds, if you're not honest. And then the last thing I said to them, what's the best number that they can contact you with to help you? And, if you're relaxed, and it's an honest thing. The interesting thing is when you get higher fees, and it's in all professions, the average person may take 4 to 6 weeks to go forward with a procedure.
David, you're talking about something that's interesting here. And that's the idea of being a consult. I know it sounds funny. We're not talking sales here, but being a consultant. So what I find so many people do when they come into the office is they come in for plantar fasciitis. And then before they even explain anything, they got a needle in their heel, they're giving them a night splint, all these other things. Whereas if you take that same amount of time and you just really take time to listen to them, to go over all the options, we'll set up a plan of care and really not do anything for them, but just educate them about all the things. It's going to really elevate your level. I think we're in such a hurry. I know because we're seeing so many patients, this and that, but doing just a real consult and not really doing treatment the first time, there's nothing wrong with that, is there?
There's absolutely nothing wrong with that at all. And I remember in my career where I made a decision that, everybody I want self-pay. I want cash. I want to be paid. Insurance is bad. You've got to make a commitment to yourself that you're not going to look back. And I still remember I don't look back. Are you going to have patience? I once had a guy send me a bottle of champagne, a multimillionaire. He wasn't going to pay for it. You can only educate people and help them. Not everybody's going to accept your treatments. I was pretty good about it. I was good. If 10 patients showed up for an expensive procedure, they got it. They accepted it. And I'll tell you what it is. It's not, the definition of sales is caring enough to get the patient the information so they can make the decision. And it's important. Somebody just told me recently, I can't have it is that it used to be you need 7 times to interact with a person, whether it's a doctor selling a laser, whatever it is, to get them to understand what you're even talking about. You think they know everything, they don't visualize what you're talking about. Sometimes they don't understand. It's now up to about 30 times in this fast-paced internet world. I'm actually thinking, you mentioned about, who you are. I'm actually thinking about making a little quote book and sending to them who I am, what my feelings are, what my philosophy is, what I want to do for you, because it's the relationship and then the product.
Because what happens is, what do patients say? I'm going to do some research on Dr. Zuckerman. So they'll Google you. But wouldn't it be better if you had this initial contact and you want to learn about, let's talk about Remy laser or anything.
Yes.
Or Onifix. And then you say, well, you're interested. Well, I don't know if you're a good candidate. Let me send you some information out. Your shock and awe packages would be your book, everything that you've done, elevating you all the way up. And then a week later, because you're not in a rush, a week later, call them. And then, did you get that information? Did you get those videos? Did you get that DVD? Did you look at it? Oh yeah. Okay. Now let's answer any questions you have. It makes it so much easier.
The consultation.
Yeah.
Is real. It's a consultation, you just purchased a Remy laser. Here's an interesting thing about sales that I've learned. You can't convince anybody to buy anything. You really can't. You have to be there at the right time when they're ready to consider the service. You're a perfect example. How many years have I known you?
Quite a few years. And well, we opened another office. We opened the office. We had a need, and okay, who's going to fill it?
That's exactly right. So what I'm saying is you always got to be in front of it. I love people that will do an e-blast. I got to tell you one thing that I really respect, and it fits in, is you look at Rem Jackson. Every single day, Rem Jackson, TJ Owl, every day they're giving a message out. I can't keep up with it, to tell you the truth. You have to have, again, that third party that will do it for you. You can't do it all. There's divisions. I mean,
labor.
does Coca-Cola, the owner, does one person do everything? You've got to have divisions to be successful.
Well, that's why you have Sarah that does the marketing for you guys and things
Yeah,
like
but
that.
it's different. There's actually, Sarah does marketing, but she's not my social media expert. It's me popping something out, thinking about it. You need a plan. That's one thing with marketing. You need a plan. And me, I just sit down and do a video. I did one yesterday when I'm training. I have one that's coming out. It's me treating a show dog with the Remy. The Remy does veterinary medicine. It's amazing. It does veterinary medicine and it does humans. And it shows the woman's in Texas. It's almost, you'll see me treating this show dog and the dog is sleeping during the Remy. Let me shut this. Sorry about this. The dog is sleeping during the treatment. And I'm like, wow. And this woman was, you got to love people too. That's the thing, you can't fake it. If you don't like people, I mean, I went to a chiropractic seminar and, it was my first time. I was amazing. The Photo Expert really took off. The Remy laser, there was 15 different of the big companies there. But, I didn't get depressed. I enjoyed myself. You meet people and, it's not what's in it for you. It's relationship. I had a great time.
Well, I'm going to pull you back over here, David. I've never talked to anyone about this aspect of really high value podiatry things that we can offer. I know they're doing the in-office surgeries and those are really high level cash payments, but for people that aren't doing the MIS stuff and they want to do really high, like these, because I've thought about it. Like they say you could potentially have a $10,000 or $20,000 product, but I just can't see where that would fit within podiatry. The highest I can get up to is, gosh, maybe amnio with shockwave might get me to, $3,000. Is there any way we can get higher than that? Any ideas? Thinking outside the box.
I'm going to tell you my first thought is, why do you have to do that if you can get something that's effective and it's high volume and you're not involved in it? It's a niche in your practice, like the membership, a laser membership or, where they come in and they use it. Depends on the state, but I got to tell you, we have some big clubs. We have sports people come in, they pay a membership.
So let's talk about that. So that's a fitness center, right?
Right. If they have tendonitis, inflammation, anything, aches and pains. My dream, and it's on my, dream list is because we have a big epidemic, unfortunately, of drug abuse. For whatever reason, we could talk about forever. But instead of popping a pill, a Motrin or an anti-inflammatory, you have a little laser that's less than 1 pound, and it's inside your pocket, and you pull it out, and you have a tendonitis. You have anything with inflammation, you can use it. But the difference of this laser is that most lasers are less than a watt. They don't have any power because of the FDA. But I have the laser there. It's just cost a lot of money to develop it, where you sell it to the doctor. He can either rent it or resell it to the patient to use or rent. They can go home with it.
Kind of like the Easton, what they used to do that.
Exactly. But it's something, I always look at the product. Does it work? And I got to tell you, with lasers, it's all about power and dosage. And these little low ones that you get on Amazon, they don't work.
I like the idea of the club. The couple of the clubs that I've thought about, and basically what we're talking about is continuity, kind of like Amazon has this, where you get your monthly deodorant every 3 months, or you get these just constant, like, or a Proto Expert, you get your so much Proto Expert or things. But I thought about the orthotic one, where they just pay, let's say, I don't know, $50 a month. And
that seems to be the number, the $50 a month.
You could do $50 a month for orthotics, or you could do it more. You could do for fungal laser or fungal nails. You could do, there's a lot of, we just don't have like the who was I talking to? Like you could do the shockwave too. You could do, you could do that monthly for a period of time. There's a lot of different ways of doing it, but we don't have this continuity like dentists do. You see them every 3 months for something. They're seeing cleanings. Like that's the king. If you could, but they're low level. They're not higher level priced things.
And you know something, I always looked at lasers as for fungus as more not to eradicate the problem,
Keep it at
but
bay.
to prevent it, just like you get your teeth cleaned, you come in 3 or 4 times to have a laser treatment. Now, there is another procedure that you're going to hear that I'm involved with. It's called photodynamic therapy, where it's a photo disinfectant. So you come in and get your feet. It's in Canada right now. I'm working with a very intelligent, bright, 2 Israeli PhDs. I've never seen PhDs, lawyers, and they're in, I mean, they're just brilliant in nanoscience. But they've developed photodynamic therapy as a whole. You're going to see more of that, me talking about that, but it's more preventive, where you put a medication on the toes, they treat it with a laser or an LED, and you come in, and once you clear the infection, just like getting teeth cleaned. It's sort of like, it's the same thing. I've always felt the preventive or post treatment was more
Well,
important.
and if you could maybe combine it, for example, with like your diabetic foot exam, or something like that would be a good way to combine things.
Yeah, you think of an idea, and as you got, the key is start. There's
Yeah.
no perfect plan.
Well, let me tell you something. I got this from what's his name? I interviewed Neil Baum. Do you know Neil?
Yes, I know. He's been around for a year. He's a dentist. No, he's a
urologist.
Urologist.
But,
he's written many.
It's like anything. It's like anything, David. People read it, but no one takes action. So one thing he recommended, and I tried this yesterday and today. I have a little iPad, and so basically, I have this. I talk to people with plantar fasciitis, and then I have them watch my 10-minute video. I leave, go see another patient, and come back, and it works great. So I have these. I was doing a presentations, but it took me too long. And
it's funny you should say that. I have a chiropractic friend, and I'll tell you a very, very brief story. Is that he was sitting when I first met him 50 years ago. Okay, he has one of the largest chiropractic practice I ever saw in my life. I met him with his 2 kids in a playpen, and I just stopped back in 1981. He was around the corner. I stopped in, and he got so busy, he'd walk in and he'd press a button, and they'd watch the video of him talking about it. And and that's another thing, is that the video should be you, the doctor, not some movie star. You're the brand,
and they're super easy. So I have one on Achilles tendonitis and plantar fasciitis. I leave them about 10 minutes. So I saw the patient, looked at the x-rays, watched him walk, made the diagnosis. I say, Mrs. Jones, I'm going to have you watch this, and I'm going to come back and answer your questions.
I love that. I love
it. Worked, and it much better than the actual PowerPoints, because the PowerPoints took me 10 minutes to go through them, and I got tired of it. But sure. I gave like a perfect presentation, per se.
It works. I've seen it work. I've watched. It's interesting about if you compare chiropractic to podiatry, where chiropractic they maximize the services on each patient, and we are always looking for another patient. Now it's got to be honest. You just can't just maximize something, and that's what I like about Poto Expert, because it's an amazing product, and I'm doing it for myself because I can't sell lasers all my life.
Now, David, with this Poto, I want to be, because we're people are probably listening because we're recording it. But so Poto Expert, let me tell you one of the objections that doctors that are already using other products might have. So just so you can develop an answer for me. I already got other creams, and it's such a pain to stop using one cream and start using another cream. I'm just telling my pain point. So I'm just thinking out loud. So if you would tell me, and I'm not asking you to do this, but I
can do it right now. No. And I just thought this off the top of my head. Maybe right, not right. Maybe
but my idea is either you help me return the stuff I have, or you buy the stuff from me that I'm using, or you rebate it to give me Poto Expert. And so I only use that. Because right now the big pain point for me is I got tons of this Cara 42 and these other ones, Gourmels and things like that on the shelf. And it's a harder pain for me to switch than it is for me to, keep using what I'm using. It's always easier to keep using what you're using than switch.
But here's something you want to ask yourself. Are patients coming back asking for it? That what you're using already? Are they
once in a while? And that's what you've told me is the care that with your stuff, that's what Bree said. They come and asking for it a little bit. Once in a while, they come and buy it every so often, the Amerigel stuff.
Question. Do you have it in each room and you're applying it on the patient every every time,
No,
every
I,
time.
I, I don't, we don't have staff that do that and I don't do that. No.
Yeah. Some people, I find that you got to realize Poto Expert, is it perfect for podiatry? I don't know. But in the near, it's a huge, huge market. I like podiatry because to me, I believe, and from what the evidence shows, I believe that it will prevent loss of toes and limb because you need that little crack in the skin. Okay, we're not talking about moisturizing, we're talking about repairing the skin.
Yeah,
Most of
that's the
the
idea.
products you have, and I don't know what they are, they all moisturize with urea. I had to do a look back, and that was I heard a lecture from Martha, who's is a scientist, and she showed how it repaired
I know, Dave, that's what you guys say. I know, and I put it on some people's feet. So I'm talking what you're going to hear from the doctors is I know, but it works, in my opinion, almost as good as the other one. And it's just easier to keep using the other one. So if you had me straight out of school and I'm not using any products, then maybe yes. Or if I had enough of it but when I put it on, I didn't see like this wow type of change right away. I know it takes about a week. So I like your idea. I'm just throwing out ideas. Gormel had a neat idea. And what they did is they gave these samples. And so
Right.
if there was a way to give out little samples to patients and say, hey, try this, but the big ones that I got, I don't feel comfortable giving those away. I'm just throwing out some ideas here for you because I'm an idea.
Can I tell you what my gut feeling is with this from umpteen years of experience? No disrespect. I'm not going to convince everybody to use the products, but I'll tell you something's happened that has really changed me. We've only had Pedo Expert United States for 2 months, 3 months. Every day somebody's ordering it for their practice, cases of it. And I'm getting a lot of feedback.
That's awesome.
So here's what you want to do. And this is your practice. Focus on what's working and stop focusing on what's not working. I'm talking about,
Yeah.
it's a topic. I may not convince you of that. I'm not trying to convince you. I think a year from now, you're going to be using Poto Expert.
Yeah.
May not be the right time for you.
And that's the key. Like it may not be that, like for us, now one thing I learned, David, is that I have 10, 20 minutes with patients. I can't talk about buying a Crest pad, buying this pad, buying Poto Expert, buying this shoe sterilizer. You don't have time to talk it. So I tend to talk at the high level things like okay, you need Shockwave. Well, why? Because, well, first I think it really works. And, other things like that. You can't, in the past, I used to get really far behind because I was talking about a 10-cent pad. Now I just give the pads away, because you're trying to sell all these things. You have to.
And I agree 100%. It might not fit into your repertoire. I'm not saying you're doing anything wrong. It's got to see, the one thing is I've got to figure a way to fit it into your practice.
Yeah.
But one thing I've noticed with the Poto Expert, it's a winner.
Yeah.
And I'll tell you why it's a winner, because we're getting orders all the time. I got a lot of work to lay it out smoother. The excitement is working on the organization of it, how to buy it. So far, the feedback is tremendous on the people that are using it. And it's all across the board, salons, amazing with podiatry, how it's taken off. It's really taken, we got a long way to go. But the fact that it's evidence-based, it's effective. There's actually, you'll see a webinar, which I'm going to blast out, where I think it's a podiatrist chiropodist from Canada that is doing case studies.
Mm-hmm.
And that one was sold out. I mean, 100 people showed up for it. I'm going to send that out.
Now, an idea. I just want to steal this idea from Dermagraft when Dermagraft was around. Okay, I just want to throw an idea at you. What they did, these are expensive grafts that I was putting on, but they had a neat marketing idea. What they said is, doctor, would you mind doing a case study or article for us? Okay, this is a marketing idea.
Yep.
So what they said is, we are going to give you so many grafts. If you take pictures, write this out, show us your experience, and then at the end, we'll get these case study, basically a testimonial of using their product.
Let's do it with you and me.
So an idea would be for this, if you said to me or someone, doesn't need to be me, I'm going to send you a case of this. I want you to practice this on your patients, do picture day 1. When they come in 3 months, do another one, give it to them, document it, and get patient testimonial. I'll give it to you for free. You know what I'm saying? Or something like that, and call it a research project. What a great marketing idea.
I love that. I love that idea. I'm willing to do it. They've done that in Canada. That's what they're doing in Canada. Typically, it's it comes to Canada, and then it comes to the United States. That's what this webinar is about, where this doctor did, I think, 4 cases of dried cracked skin.
But this idea of, and so thinking about with working with podiatrists or people, it reduces, it elevates me as the podiatrist because I'm doing research. It reduces.
Do it? I'll sign you up.
Well, I'm not trying to sell myself on something. We'll talk about that.
I'll do it. I love it. I'll do it for you. I love you, Don. You're great. You are. I'll do it with you. You want to do it?
We can try it.
If you want to do it, we'll do it.
Yeah, we could try it. But so I just want to finish up this interview for those that are listening. So we talked. I'm going to put the links for Poto Expert below. Excellent shockwave therapy and David Zuckerman, and then David, we're going to be finishing up this interview. I'd love to have you back another time. We talk about more ideas, and thank you for your time.
I appreciate it. Always good listening to you, because I learned from you as well. It's always it's two-way street.
It's exchange.